catch all the action live here at NAGP TV as past champions battle it out this year's great race. Welcome, NAGP race fans, live from Anderstorp. I'm Jack Ivey, and I'm along with Thomas Schubeck tonight. Welcome, Thomas.
Thanks, Jack. It's an honor to be able to join you here tonight. I'm looking forward to this race. So, what do we got in store for us?
Well, we have got the Race of Champions tonight, Thomas. We've got 45 minutes of fast, furious action. But before we get to that, we have got the Super Pole qualifying, and I'm sure you've been involved in this before. What do you think of this?
Oh, the dreaded Super Pole. You know, but for these champions and the few, there's a couple non-champion substitutes in there. These guys are pretty seasoned, you know. I don't think this is going to bug them like it would bug you and me. I mean, I definitely have a nerve issue in the Super Pole format.
Well, yeah, just for the viewers that, and you might get a response up on the chat board there, Thomas. We're dropping frames like crazy, so video quality might not be the best. Our apologies out there to the viewers right now. Brand new format we're running here at NAGP, so please bear with us. But Super Pole, one out lap, one hot lap to set the grid for the final race. And as you said, the pressure's on these guys to lay it down in one lap.
Yes, you know, Jack, that one lap format, I like it personally. You know, it's like you're out there on your own, and it's, you know, you either do it or you don't. You know, it's that simple.
Yeah, and some of the drivers are more comfortable with it. We've seen our usual suspects, Chris Moses, Brad Maris, Andre Pareto, who do quite well in this. It looks like we're missing Aaron Parsons. I hope he can make it during Quali 2. But some of the drivers like Gregory Myers, not the greatest qualifier, but always seems to make his way up into the top of the standings.
Yeah, Gregory. Yeah, he is a consistent guy. You know, he's one of those guys that's very good at, you know, having his own game plan and sticking to it no matter what. And that's a thing that a lot of us other drivers should take to heart, because, you know, me personally, I could never run with the Myers and the Moseses where I'm at in my skill level. You know, getting into your zone and staying to it, you know, Myers proves that it's worth points every week.
Yeah, you know, that's why I call him Mr. Smooth. He drives his line, he drives his own race, and drives up to the front. What do you think about tonight? We've got a talented bunch of guys out there. What are you thinking?
Well, this track is an interesting track. You know, leave it to the Swedes to build an airport and hook a racetrack to it in a swamp, basically. So, but I do love this track. This track is a fun track, and I think the guys that did the time and did some laps, this track setup is key here, especially in these cars. There's a lot of turns that have some weird bumps at entry, and, you know, if you've taken the time to get your car trimmed out, you're going to be looking good here.
Yeah, that big long straightaway going into turn number 7, big and long, and these cars aren't the biggest power cars that they're used to driving, but the rest of the track is pretty technical. A lot of these corners are going to have to maintain the momentum going through them. Turn 1, turn 4, and especially the last turn, turn 6.
Yeah, that's where the guys that did the time and worked on a setup here, you know, with these being a spec car race, is really gonna show as the race goes on. Plus, this track is just vicious, utterly vicious on that left front. I mean, the real demanding turns on tire wear are all lefts here, and so we're going to see some fade, and guys that have taken the time to make a good setup it's going to pay off, I think.
Well, first out in his out lap is Gregory Myers. Greg's driving the Circuit City, number 124. Yeah, as Greg, he's the first one to admit he is not the greatest qualifier, but I'm sure he is going to start better than 14th in this race. So let's give our best wishes out to Greg and hope he turns in a decent race.
Yeah, I've had plenty of races around Greg, in my career at NAGP, on-off career, and he's a good guy to race around. But like you said, you know what? He drives his race. He drives his line. You want to get around him, you're going to have to earn it. And he's one of those guys that, consistently is in the points and has a good game plan. If he could just work on his qualifying, it would help him huge.
Well, he is definitely smooth out there, and one of our more colorful characters, but these are all champions that we've got out here tonight, save a few substitutes. And the past two...
I've been called worse than colorful, though.
And, the past two champions have been Chris Moses in the BMW M3 at Magny-Cours and Brad Maris in the Porsche 996 GT3 Cup at Donington. So this is a real departure in cars and tracks for these guys.
Yeah, Jack. Well, first off, my pick for tonight would be Brad. That's my number one pick. Moses, in practice wasn't looking so fast, but those two guys are former winners of the champion race, so they got something to prove here too, to these new guys. So look to see those two really just letting it hang out and go for it.
Well, we expect to see those two battling it out, but boy, oh boy, we've seen sheer flashes of brilliance from Wyatt Gooden, and I wouldn't want to count him out, but then again, we also have Alex White Lightning, and boy, that guy can drive the wheels off a shopping cart, so I don't know who I'd pick, to be honest with you, and this is one of the first times I just don't know who to pick in this race.
Yeah, it's a tough call. You got Pareto. Always fast, always consistent. And one of those guys that the thing about Pareto with me is he's one of those guys that has that ability to, when he's pressured or when he's in a situation where he's having to chase down somebody, he can turn it up a notch. And some guys, just can't. Like me personally, it's like I run my race and I run it. And, if I try and take that extra tenth, it usually bites me in the ass.
And next up on track, we've got John Houston. John Houston running in the AMP Energy Drink 153 BMW. But, saying that, Greg put in a decent qualifying lap there.
Yeah, that's no slouch of a lap for Greg. That's good. Houston, it's great to see Houston out here. He had such a good season last season. It was just
and
epic season for him.
You and I both saw him at driving school. Yeah, absolutely. But you saw him at driving school, and he wants to drive up to the front this next season coming up.
Yeah, at Spa, I was chasing him down, and I was giving it everything I had. And if the sucker didn't run out of gas, I don't think I would have caught him.
Well, I'm hoping these guys aren't going to bring fuel into play tonight, and I don't think they will.
Nah, no, I don't think anybody's going to chance that with this, because that's not going to be really. Back to reiterate, I think who's gonna shine late is who's done the time, because this track is going to be hard on tire wear on these little cars, and just having your car trimmed out and set up, and some of the bumps going into some of these turns are nasty. They're just like in the perfectly wrong spot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and Mr. Houston just didn't quite pull it out and is still sitting in provisional P2. Next up, we've got Christian Hamilton. Christian Hamilton is driving the TD Visa budget car, number 127. Lots of Canadian flavor on this one, folks. You can see TD Visa, home hardware. I'm loving this car.
Hey, is that a little better, Rodri? Hey, Ken, is that a little better?
Yeah.
The chat, they're saying my mic's a little quiet there, Jack. Sorry to jump on you there.
The sound is good on my end. I just have no way of seeing it out there on there. Have you got the chat up? Are we getting half decent picture quality? Do we know?
How are we looking, guys? Yeah, it looks like I got my mic a little better. So I'll try and keep the F-bombs to a minimum. Great quality. Everybody's liking what they're seeing so far.
Good. Pleased we
keep up the good work, Jack. Attaboy.
I'm glad to have you here. So, Christian coming around to his sector time. Oh boy, he's improved on that sector. So Christian putting in a half decent lap out here. These long corners are tough to keep the power down and keep the grip.
Yeah, this track is one of those tracks that it's like you could think your car is good, and then 10 laps into it, you're just gonna hit a shit brick. It's hard on the car, so it's going to come back to that setup thing that I mentioned before. We're really going to see it, I think, after about lap 8 and up, if guys are going to start fading.
Well, next up on the track, we've got Al Merriman, the boss, the guy we have to thank for all the fun we have here, driving the Prilosec OTC 155 BMW. And as you mentioned, that's the heartburn car. So let's see if Al can give some of these other drivers some heartburn tonight.
So far, I'm watching out here. He's a little off pace. It's looking all right, though.
Well, for anybody who doesn't know, Al's the guy who makes it all possible around here at NAGP. And and pulls the plug. Well, you know something there, though, Thomas? I've been told before, get in and finish because somebody's going to pooch. Even if you spin it, just get back on the track, get your time in.
We all everybody preaches that shit, but I mean, how hard is it to practice? You're going out there and you're just going 105, you're giving it 105%, shit goes wrong when you're doing that, so.
Well, we've got
one of the other things why. Oh, I'm sorry, Jeff.
No. We've got
the reason why. Me personally, I need to practice my qualifying. I need to make a focus next season to work on my qualifying because it's so critical.
Well, next up we've got Gup Douglas. Gup is driving the K&N, and I believe they're filters. That's the ones that are on my motorbike. The K&N filter car. So Gup, another long-time participant here around NAGP, and for years he was Chris Moses' teammate until, who took over Gup's position on that team?
Yeah, well, that's an interesting set. But for the record, I was on PMR way before Gup.
Whoa, Shoobs. We didn't need an excuse or an explanation here. Oh, and Gup.
You know,
I'm
I know
ribbing you.
it's a
I'm
tough
ribbing
call,
you.
man.
Oh,
Yeah, I got bad.
attaboy, attaboy. Well, see, there you go, Shoops. He's not going to end up last on the grid because he pulled it out and kept going. It's too bad. Gup was having some half decent times in practice, too.
Yeah, Scotty, I don't think they have a language filter because you're going to not have a broadcast.
Yeah, sorry, I don't have time delay enabled. Maybe in the next broadcast, Shoops, when you're up, I'm going to get the time delay set up so we can hit the beeper button.
I'll try and keep it to a minimum.
That's all right. I don't know if you can see how many. Well, I should be able to see how many viewers we have as Gup comes around to finish out his. And a little bit off the pace there, Gup, but don't worry, you got a lot of racing ahead of you. Next up, we have got Mr. Marty Uren, our senior statesman racing out of California. Marty's racing the Total. Have no idea who the sponsors are on that, but Total, number 132 BMW.
Yeah, let's see if Marty's done some quality practice. You know.
Well, you know what? I'm always a big supporter of Marty because I think, other than him, I am probably one of the oldest guys at NAGP here.
How old are you, Jack?
I'm just a young guy, but probably a lot older than most of the racers that are racing here around NAGP.
What kind of answer was that? The guys in the chat want to know.
I'm just pushing up towards 60 there.
Ah, good for you. Yeah, I'm 45 too.
Boy, I wish I was that young. So Marty coming along, and he's got a fairly decent sector time. He's a little off the lead, though. Boy, these long sweeping corners are very critical to keep the power down, as Brad has taught me at driving school as he's coming around to his finish. And Marty pulls it up.
Yeah, and that's really a problem with these cars because these cars don't have much power to spare, and if you're not getting it to the ground, you're gonna be taking it in the rear.
Next up to start his hot lap is Tiago Canola. Tiago driving the 139 Old Spice. Well, if nothing else, this guy is going to smell good by the end of the race.
Tiago is one of those guys that he has definitely done his homework. You know, I would put money on he has done his homework offline and taken the time to prepare for this. So let's see what I may have broadcaster jinxed him, but I'm betting you're going to see a fast time here in the 30.
No doubt, and he is 2/100ths of a second under that first sector split. But we saw him at practice, and boy, that guy was flying around the track. And it looks like Tiago is going to be joining us for another season again after taking a season off, which is good.
Yeah, Maris is also going to be in GT1 this coming season, so it'll be nice to have the instructor back racing.
Yes, the instructor extraordinaire, and anybody there wants any help, Brad's been out giving us some lessons, and boy, they've been really good classes this session around, so you guys come on out and join us. Boy, that Tiago sure seems like he's got a real good, smooth lap going on here. Coming around to finish up. Whoa, 133, 442.
Yeah, that was an epic lap right there. But you can also see him watching, you know he's done the time. His car looked very under him. You know, he was just taking the time to set the car up, and that's where it's going to give you that speed you need.
Well, next up we have got Ryan Mayfield. Ryan Mayfield driving the Circuit City 124. Now, I don't know much about Ryan, but I think he is going to show us some pretty smooth driving here in this race if he can keep it all together.
Yeah, that's going to be, key. I mean, me personally, these guys that are subbing into this, it just mind your P's and Q's and run as hard as you can and just don't mess up a champion's race.
Well, if they don't have the pace, a good guy to hook onto the back of would be Mr. Smooth, because you're bound to follow him up near the leaderboard.
Ryan's definitely got some good pace. His car looks pretty good. His car looks pretty good too. So he's may have taken the time to do his homework and get this car set up for the long haul here.
Well, I got to think that if you're coming in as a sub, you better have done your homework, or else you're not going to look very professional out there with these top-notch drivers. Boy, oh boy, and he is, 41 thousandths under that sector time, so he is cooking that field out there.
Yeah, he's looking good.
That doesn't look good. And I hope that's not us.
No, because I got Alex moving. I think he may have locked up on it.
Yeah, that's too bad. Next up, Alex White, Lightning, racing out of the UK, and Alex has got a heartburner too. He's running the Prilosec 155, so we got two Prilosec 155s out there tonight.
What, is Alex teaming up with Al?
Well, I don't know.
Are they just out there to give each other heartburn?
Probably. They probably will give each other heartburn. Alex, one of my favorite drivers around here. I love the guy. He's got a great big heart. Soft-spoken guy, but boy, he can sure drive.
Yeah, he's definitely one of those guys that's got some incredible pace.
Yeah, even in his regular seasons when he carries all the ballast weight, he is still super competitive. And he goes 3/100ths under that sector split, so he is definitely on a tear. Coming into the final corner. This is looking good. And he does. He sets the new fast lap to beat.
That is an incredible lap. That's all I gotta say.
Well, next up, another one of our favorites out here is Chris Moses, and Chris is driving the Home Depot Rigid. I wonder if his wife picked that car out for him. The BMW.
If his wife picked it, it'd probably be the doghouse.
Well, with as much time as he spends, hey, big thank you out there to Chris Moses. Puts in unbelievable hours getting us marshaled, and sometimes he must feel like he's herding cats, but does a great job for us here. It's just a little bit off that first sector time.
Yeah, there can't be enough said for all the time and effort he puts into organizing shit for all of us, and I mean, I personally appreciate it. You know, it's time out of his life, and same with Al. You know, so it's nice to see this championship race where these guys can just go out and have some fun.
Yeah, and there's going to be a bit of passing going on in this, but let's face it, these guys all are top-notch drivers, and they're going to probably feel pretty comfortable racing nose to tail and side by side with each other.
Scotty, you know that's normal. Moses sliding, that's normal.
Oh yeah. Sometimes he looks like he's in one of those Japanese drift competitions.
He's probably trying to get it ready for the long haul race tonight. You know, you slide it around, you can wear those back tires out to even out the front wear that this track puts on these cars. That's the story I'm sticking with.
Up next, we've got Juan Monroy. Juan is driving the Nestle Nesquik car. You know what? This is one driver I love watching. Boy, oh boy, he's super competitive. Always charging up near the front, and I love to see this guy drive.
Yeah, you know, he had an amazing season also. He's another one of those guys, like Houston, just had an amazing season. You know, really stepped up his game to help his team, and and it showed.
Yeah. He had some great races from the backs, up to the top fives and top tens. So this guy's putting in the time, and it showed in the last season. So I'm looking for another great GT1 season out of this guy. Coming around to the sector split here. Hey, and 2 100s off the pace. That's no slouchy time out there. Boy, I know I said it before. Those long sweeping corners, they're really tough for me. These guys make it look so easy.
Yeah, it's one of those things,
Wow.
Corners like that, it's one of those patience testers. You know what I mean? You got to go in there and get the car to bite, and then you just need to carry that momentum that where you're on that threshold, and it's so difficult not to sit there and seesaw the throttle and force a push, so that's where that experience is really going to pay off for guys in a race like this at this track.
Absolutely. And he drove that up to P2, Juan did. So out in track now we've got Andre Prado. Andre in the starter. I don't even know what starter is. What is it, shoes or something? I don't know. Number 136 BMW. This guy can this guy can drive.
The blue car with stars on it.
Yeah, I don't know what starter is.
I think they're shoes. I'm not sure either. I must be dating myself also. I'm one of the older guys too.
Well, he had some great times out there, and here's another guy who is always... He's at the front of the pack. If he's not at the front of the pack, he's chasing the leaders down. So, boy, I really look forward to seeing him tonight.
Yeah, again, Andres is just one of those drivers with that skill.
Whoa.
To be able to be like on the chase and be able to turn it up that notch, that little bit, and run them down.
Yeah, he just caught a bit of a curb back there. I think that cost him a little bit of time, but he is just maybe 3 100s off the pace as he goes into that big right-hand sweeper.
Well, yeah, you're going to see that with these little low power, just squirrely little cars. It's momentum is key with these cars, and any off throttle, curb, bounce, you're going to lose so much.
Well, that was good enough for P2, so I think without that he would have taken the provisional pole there. Up next, Wyatt Gooden. Newcomer. to NAGP, but obviously not a newcomer to sim racing. And Wyatt's ride tonight is the Holland Casino 125. And if you picked him, I think you picked a good bet.
Yeah, Wyatt's another example of an amazing sim slash, real world race car driver. He knows the steps to perform. He's come in here and he's done the time. So hopefully I won't jinx him.
No, we had the pleasure of listening to Wyatt at race school last week when he talked about his preparation, and absolutely stunned me how many laps he puts in prior to a race. So just goes to show you, he puts the time in and gets ready for each race.
I mean, that's key, because the only way to get consistency is doing the time,
Well, I put in lots of laps.
Talking about doing,
but my laps are really slow.
That's all right. That's where you're at. Hey, I'm not a top 10 runner. I'll get a top 10 once in a while, but I by no means have the pace that these guys, and that's why I'm broadcasting and not out there.
I'll tell you, if this guy is going to take the pole. Whoa, oh, do you see that? He is 11th 1,000ths out of pole position. Wow. Woo. It was a great lap. But up next, instructor extraordinaire, Brad Maris, and Brad is driving the Roundup. And do you think he's going to round these guys up tonight? I think so. I think he's going to drive himself right to the front of the pack at this race here.
Well, Brad's another one of those guys that's guaranteed done the time, done the laps, done the practice, and figured out what he needs to do to have a good pace and maintain that pace. And that's going to be key.
Yeah, and he is, listening to Wyatt and Brad at that school talking, they both have the same methodology. They do it step by step. They do the same workout, the same, prep week in and week out, and that's why they're so successful.
That's why I'm starting to join you at the schools also, Jack, is trying to break those bad habits I've gotten over the years. It's just, what you're doing wrong, but then in the situation, in the heat of the moment, in the tight racing and stuff, you just subconsciously go back to those stupid mistakes that you make, or over driving, trying to go too deep, and it's so hard to break that habit.
Well, it's work to keep us where we are, but we have to stop those to get farther ahead. So the school's been great, and this looks like another good lap by Brad. I don't know if he's going to do it though. Good enough for P3.
That is a very respectable lap. Yeah, Brad's my pick for tonight.
Well,
Scotty's got Wyatt. Who you going with, Ken? It's so hard to pick, man. It's so hard to pick. Look at that front row. It's a dream team front row. You got Alex and Wyatt, two of the more newer comers. Now, right behind them, you got second row is two veterans. Then third row, couple of not newcomers, but and Christian Hamilton, he's just a wild card in there in seventh. It's impressive.
Yeah, Christian threw in a great lap to grab P7 there. But mentioning that, we got 14 guys out there. They're all 14 super dynamic drivers. Yep, Alex has got the pole. Look at how many. He's got it by what's that, 12 1,000ths of a second? Oh, my goodness. Talk about super tight there. And Gooden Damaris another 69 thousandths. I mean, the grid is so tight up there. These guys are going to be nose to tail for 45 minutes.
Well, yeah, all the way back to Moses. You know, what is that? That's a half a second. You know.
Yep.
It's ridiculous, or a little more than a half a second.
It is going to be good, and you know what I like about this, and I do hope it stays dry. The wet is going to throw a whole nother dynamic at this, but I want to see a flat out dry, race for the medal.
Yeah, hopefully Ryan won't have any problems either. I mean, he definitely had a pace to be in those low 33s, and had that hiccup with his internet there, which bumped into the back of the field. So hopefully Ryan definitely showed he had the pace. So hopefully he'll be patient and work his way up.
Well, I could only hope to start on the 7th row.
Yeah, you and me both.
But it is a race of champions, so I'm glad to see we got a small field. We should be able to keep an eye on it tonight, Thomas, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, totally, Jack. This is going to be a very entertaining race with these little pea shooter junk pile cars. It's going to be fun.
Well, you know what? We heard Greg mention that they're small, they're slow, they're not fast enough. But when you're nose to tail, it's all relative. If you're all only doing 140 miles an hour, you're all nose to tail. It's still a race.
True that. It'll be interesting to see, what kind of setups, they actually are running. We're going to be able to see that, early on with the, the first run down the airport. Did you go, more towards the streamline in your car, low downforce to try and take advantage of that long straight, or did you compromise some of that for tire wear on the infield? So it's going to be an interesting dynamic to see how these guys stand up against each other, in the infield compared to the actual, long straight.
Yeah, it absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see how they have balanced the car out. Other than that big long straightaway, you're going to need some grip in those long corners. So, going to be interesting to see how the pace varies from qualifying. I see the guys are all lining up. They're going to practice their start maneuvers.
Yeah, that's another fun little thing about this track is it's kind of deceiving because the two of the long corners are both have a pretty nice bank to them, so if you can really get in and grab that groove, you can lay down the law. It's going to be hard on that tire, but on that outside front tire a little bit over the long run. But I mean, you can really carry some momentum in those banked corners.
Yeah, corner 6, the last corner before the straightaway, going to be super important to get a good run off of that. And corner 8 and corner 2 are the next bits going into the straight bits as well. So it's going to be critical on those corners for those guys to carry the speed out of there.
Yeah, and with these little pea shooter jalopies they're driving, that is so key is carrying that momentum onto those straights. So, and how they decided to trim their car out. Did they trim it out for speed? Did they compromise a little bit? Because this track is about compromise. You can trim it out for speed, but you're gonna pay for it in those first 2 turns and some of the turns on the infield. The bank turns not as much.
Well, we know from our driving school that Brad Maris is constantly talking about carrying the momentum in and through the corners. So if anybody knows how to do this, Brad sure does. And on the start,
And Brad's a former winner of this, and every time this champion race comes around, and the losers race, it's usually some car that's, it's not of the norm. It's something, like the V8 supercars. They got some power, but they're heavy cars. So I mean they're a lot more violent on the tires than the cars we're normally used to driving.
Yeah, the best of the rest race, as I like to call it. I don't really like to call it the losers race, but the best of the rest there. Salem Montgomery won that in the end of last season, and it's too bad he couldn't make tonight's race, because I know he would have been thrilled to be involved with this group of drivers. Now, I haven't had a chance. I've been busy trying to get all this, the new program stuff set up here, folks. But there is a trophy on the line. It's called the Broken Hub Award. And no offense to all you guys that are offshore, but boy, I hope it stays in North America.
So what, it weighs a ton?
Yeah, it's going to cost me a bloody fortune to ship this thing around the world.
Go, Brad, go.
Well, it's actually a broken hub of an actual race car.
Oh, sweet.
Got it mounted up on a nice mount for everybody, but I didn't get a chance to post it up, but we'll get her posted up before I get it mailed away.
Nice, Jack.
So earlier I was talking with Alex White and asked him if he was going for the lead in this race, and he said that was his intention.
Well, I mean, with these kind of cars, you gotta really, you can't detach. You gotta just frickin' try and get up front.
Well, he was one of the few drivers that actually said he liked the car.
Well, that's what you expect from some Euro guy, and they like some little jalopy thing. I'd rather have been Ford Falcons, 63 model.
Now, I did have the opportunity to do a few laps in these cars, and I will say they were fun. I won't say they were my favorite car to drive, but they were fun.
I'm just giving the little pieces of shit a hard time. I mean, they're a fun car to drive. Personally, I don't really like the car, but it's a fun car to drive.
So we're just about done with the warm-up. I wonder if Alex White is going to use his secret weapon. He has a special start sequence he uses off the start line. I know.
Yeah, did I ever tell you my secret starting sequence?
No, but I think you're gonna.
It's like right before the light change, I just look left and right, and I just scream, "Do not F me."
Well, Alex has a little thing he's done. I've tried it. He said it was a secret, but he announced it on Open Vet, so I let it go in one of the broadcasts. He starts in pit lane control. And we're ready to go. So, do you want to run down the order? We've got Alex White in first, Wyatt Gooden in second, Brad Maris in third, Andre Prado in fourth, and Juan Monroy in fifth.
Tiago Canola taking sixth, Christian Hamilton, impressive seventh, Marty Urin eighth, Chris Moses ninth, and Gregory Myers in 10th.
In P11 is John Houston, Gup Douglas in P12, Ryan Mayfield with a unfortunate little spin there, and Al Merriman in P14.
And then you got Jack Ivy and me. Park that crap, because I don't want to be out there.
Yes, and your broadcasters tonight is Thomas Schubeck and Jack Ivy. We're going to bring you all the action.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here with you, Jack. Try and assist you as best I can, and try and keep the profanity to a minimum. So let's just have a good time.
Well, they're just these guys are ready to go. They are all out on the track now, so that's strange. They're all out well in time. Oh, Alex White decides to pop back in for a quick change of something. 74 degrees, track temp, ambient 59, and we're ready to go racing. And they're off for the race of champions. Alex White get in side by side with Wyatt Gooden into the first quarter and has to tuck in behind. So Wyatt Gooden gets the drop and leads the pack away. Alex White in second, Brad Maris in third, Prado in fourth, Juan Monroy fifth, Tiago Canola in sixth. Into the first corner, Gooden hangs on.
Looks like everybody got off good.
Yep.
Mayfield may have had a little issue, but
yeah, I hope his connection holds steady because he was showing some really good pace. But they are all lined up. Brad Maris putting the pressure on Alex White. Boy, there's a gaggle of cars. Gooden, White, Maris, Prado, and Monroy. Canola in 6. Moses up to 7. Marty in 8th. Christian Hamilton dropped back to 9th, so he's lost a couple of spots. Gregory Myers in 10th. John Houston in 11. Gup Douglas in 12. A little bit of a bobble there. And Al Merriman in 13th. And Ryan Mayfield in 14th, looking to close the gap.
Yeah, it's nice to see everybody looks like they're on their best behavior these first few turns and this first lap. So should be interesting. And we're looking at back to 7th, where Moses is. You know, you're talking 2 seconds. I mean, that's a tight field.
Yeah, it definitely does not look like Monday night out here tonight, folks. And boy, that is tight up at the front with Alex White right on the tail. But boy, oh boy, Brad Maris is getting under a lot of pressure from Tiago Canola. White having a look on the inside. White on the inside and takes Gooden. Gooden getting pressed out to the inside, and it looks like Brad Maris is coming up behind, and Tiago Canola. Oh, Tiago loses it.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Wow.
He had to check up, or he would have taken Brad out. It was good of him to check it up.
Boy, that cost him.
Be able to gather that up.
Yeah, that cost him big time. That put him right at the back of the pack. So Alex White has gone to
plenty of time.
Whoa, and it looks like we've got Brad Maris is pushing really hard to reel Gooden in, but got it a little wide on that one. Boy, oh boy.
Yeah, Andres is... that was Andres who lost it. He's in bad shape. Looks like he lost his front clip and stuff. He's into the pits.
Well, you know what? These drivers here, it's not going to take much of a mistake to have literally the field go by you.
Yeah, that's true. I just want to reiterate. It was, it was good of him to, it was unfortunate that his checkup did he lost control checking up, but he kept it off of Brad, which was a nice thing to do.
You know what? And
the right thing.
Yeah, and you know what? I'd expect that from all these drivers out here tonight because that's why they are the best.
Yeah, Ryan, just for a quick update, yeah, Ryan has settled down a little bit, caught back up to the back of the field, and is now in 12th, just past Al, and is working on Gup right now.
Well, good on him. Alex White up the front caught a couple of curbs. He's still got a bit of a lead out there, but you can tell he's riding that car on the edge to stay ahead of Wyatt Gooden. And our instructor, Brad Maris, not far behind. And we got a great battle with Tiago Canola and Juan Monroy going on there, too, for fourth position.
Yeah, Wyatt and Brad are pushing on him pretty hard. That was the fastest lap so far. 33.8, with a full fuel load. That's hauling the mail.
Chris Moses all the way up to P6.
Yeah, Moses is definitely, I would think, is going to be one of those guys to watch too, because he's a former winner like Brad, and with all these newcomers and coming off a season that was a good season but may have felt a little lackluster to him, he's definitely going to be one of those guys that's going to step up his game.
Hey, always dangerous, a great driver. And, he is starting to put the heat on Tiago Canola, who is putting the heat on Juan Monroy. So maybe this little battle up here with Juan Monroy and Tiago is going to play into Chris's hands because, like I said, one little bobble, these guys are so close, in pace together that you're going to lose a bunch of spots. And Chris all over the back of Tiago.
Very true.
Well,
it's just it's a perfect example here. These are all experienced champions, and this is a 45-minute race, and they're running it like they stole it. I think around lap 9, lap 8, we're going to really see who's put the time into their car, and as some cars start to fade, because they're flogging these things.
Yeah, and Mr. Smooth, Gregory Myers, up to P8 now. And there's a bunch of them back there. Myers in 8th. Christian Hamilton hanging onto the back of Myers. Ryan Mayfield up to 10th. John Houston in 11th. Al Merriman in 12th. Gup Douglas in 13th. And Andre pushing like crazy to catch back up to the field. But, having to get back into the pits, that pretty much put the nail in the coffin for Andre. So that's too bad because we know he had the pace.
The race is young, things go wrong. Myers just a little bobble there. Let's Mayfield and Hamilton by. Oh, we got a car hung up. I didn't see who it was. Car hung up on the bank. Juan Monroy must have lost it in the high-speed bank.
Well, we've got another incident going on. Chris Moses has gotten by Tiago Canola for P4, so Chris on a tear. Also up at the front, Brad Maris is dropped a little behind Wyatt Gooden, but Wyatt is all up on the back end of Alex White, and let's see if he can put it together here.
Yeah, Brad, I like where Brad's sitting now. He's kind of catbirding it right now, it looks like. I mean, this is early in the stint, These guys are running hard.
What?
They've decided to back it off a little and preserve his car a little bit.
Well, Wyatt Gooden
momentum up and let these guys wear him out.
Well, Wyatt Gooden made an excellent pass on Alex White, and Alex White tried to come back, and Wyatt, an excellent pass. It took him 2 corners to do it. Boy, oh boy, that was some great driving by both those drivers. good on Alex, gave him the room, without giving up any speed there. But
Yeah.
they're going at it up here.
Yep. And Brad's probably just going, get him, because those guys are just cooking their machines. Yeah, Brad's sliding his around a little bit too there, but I mean, I would personally like to be in Brad's spot.
Well, one tap between these two drivers and Brad's going to be in the lead. Whoa!
Woo, Brad
Yeah,
had a little moment there, but
yeah.
They're running those cars hard, man. I mean, let's see what they got. Let's see what they got in 10 laps. I mean, be interesting.
Well, it sure is, but that was a little pucker moment for Brad, though.
Yeah, you gotta love. I have at least 10 of those a race. Come on.
Well, I'm so bad they don't pucker me up at all. So we've got Gooden in first, White in second, Brad Maris in third, and Chris Moses up to fourth. And you know what? Chris is catching these leaders and putting a bit of a gap on Tiago Canola as Tiago loses it sideways. Oh, he's got a bit of pavement there, so keep going. Tiago down to 6. Tiago parked it. He's parked it. Tiago Canola has parked it.
Bad.
Wow. Boy, oh boy, that is too bad. They were going at it pretty good. So, Gooden in first, White in second, Maris in third, Chris Moses fourth.
Mayfield's up to 6.
Well, that'd be a great run from him.
Ryan's hauling the friggin' mail.
He definitely is.
Looking good, hanging in his 7th starting position.
So Ryan Mayfield gathered it back up, got himself up to 6th after having a bit of a lag out during qualifying. Good on Christian Hamilton, hanging in there in 7th. Greg Myers smoothing his way up to 8th. Big Al Merriman up to 9th. It's good on Al, too. John Houston hanging on to 10. Gup Douglas in 11. Juan Monroy, he must have been the one that got hung up on the curb.
Yeah.
Because he's all the way back down to 12th now. But I don't think that's
he just
for...
needs to put his head down and get after it. He'll be all right.
Now, you know what? I didn't even check to see how many laps we're going to be doing. I have no idea.
I'm. Let me check. Let me see if I can see.
Well,
Kenny just popped in. It should be 31. 45 minutes or 31 laps there, Ken?
well, there you go. Totally unprepared here tonight, folks. But we are trying our best, and we're hoping you're liking the action anyway. So, Gooden, White, Maris, 1, 2, 3, and those three are hanging on to each other. Bit of a gap going back there to pick up Chris Moses, who is... Boy, if Chris can just step it up just a tiny little bit, because he has got clean air all around him. Marty in 5th.
He's got his work cut out for him there, Jack. I mean, he stepped up his game. He's definitely got some pace on him. He's about sticking around 4.3 out. But these guys up front are flogging it. I mean, it's going to be interesting if they run them so hard that they come back to the pack here and have 15 more laps.
These three guys, no way. These guys could drive on. They could drive shopping carts to the front of the field. I don't care what they're driving. Those guys are great, but so is the whole field. But I'm back on right now with Ryan Mayfield, and boy, oh boy, this guy's up into 5th, and he's going to take the 4th position here.
Hey Jack, where's Alex White at? That's right. He's back in 12th. So
No.
Oh, yeah.
What happened there? No,
They're running it that hard.
Alex White's in second.
Oh, okay. Oh, my timing and scoring said he was in 12th. I'm sorry. I was like going, I'm not watching him right now, but I was watching the timing and scoring, and I was like, oh my God, here we go.
I was going to say, man, this is pretty poor. We've only got 15 cars to follow, and we can't follow any of them.
I'm actually watching the in-game thing, so he might be having a. Hopefully, his connection isn't being.
Hey guys, for you guys who are watching, you know, this is the race of champions, not the broadcast of champions. It's the race of champions.
Oh, you could only wish, Ken. There'd be way more flavor text.
Well, big shout out there to all you viewers. We're in double digits there. We've got 16 viewers out there tonight. Now I got to thank you all.
That's probably what it was, Scotty. I was actually on Moses, and all of a sudden I saw the little white name start go down the list. I was like, uh-oh. That fight got a little violent up front.
On board with Alex White. You know, and Brad is still holding almost the exact distance between these two front runners as he has since they started going at it. Although, might be closing just a little bit. Just going to jump back to the leaderboard.
I mean, yeah, me personally, I wouldn't want to close on that battle too close. I just let them fight it out. It's too early to get involved in that. I think he's sticking to a game plan, staying in touch, let them do their thing, and let them come back to you.
Well, I don't know if they're going to come back to him, but Brad sure isn't letting him out of his sight. White into the grass.
Yeah, Moses had a couple moments there, Scotty's. I mean, it's 9 seconds now back to fourth place, so he's stabled out there, and he's about 9.5 seconds back to P4, and then the gap from there is 4 seconds to 5. But Mayfield's up to 5th, and he's moving up, man. He's got some.
Whoa! Broadcaster's curse there. You just put him into the grass, but he got her back on track. Hung on to the position, though. But he sure has. You know, he probably got a little frazzled, you know, with his lock up there in qualifying. Marty.
What kind of motors these little pea shooters have in them, right? John Deere?
Yeah. Marty, you were in 6th. Christian Hamilton hanging on to 7th. Greg Myers hanging on to 8th. Al Merriman in 9th. Juan Monroy in 10th. John Houston in 11th. And Gup Douglas in 12th. Andre Prado in 13th. I don't know where he is, though, but we could find out. Andre is down a lap, so that's not going to bode well.
Again, just to reiterate, you know, kudos to Andres because, you know, he did the right thing there, and he had to check up pretty hard because of that battle up in front, and, you know, the car got away from him, you know. But he kept it off of Brad, and, you know, it was a commendable thing to do.
Absolutely, because we are not unused to seeing controversy here on NAGP, and we have seen some lively moments after some controversial races in the past, so it's not what we want to see here tonight. Although it does give us something to chat about in the forums the next day. So, out in front, Wyatt Gooden, Alex White, Brad Maris.
They're BB guns then.
So Moses and Mayfield all on their own, along with Marty.
Oh, no problem, Ken. No problem on going the distance with these cars. The thing is, it's going to be tire management. I think personally, from the laps I ran in the car and tinkering with the car a little bit, it is. This track is really hard on that left front tire. I mean, real hard.
Well, now that you mention that, we did have the opportunity to talk to Gooden during race school, and he talked about getting the balance set up to address particular corners of the car. So would he have an advantage there over some of the other drivers?
Well, anybody that's taken the time and done and put in the time is going to have an advantage over someone that hasn't put in the time. They have an idea of what's to come. You know, have you done a long stint? You know, do you know what tire wear is going to do? Again, this track is one of those tracks where you could go with a low down, you could go with a speed setup or a downforce setup, and you give up a lot down that front straight, but you can hold in the infield better. You know, it's one of those tracks, so you have to compromise. So it's like, what direction did he take his setup? We don't know that. You know, did he go, I'm going to go for all out speed and just baby the car a little bit, or I'm just going to go for all out speed and see what happens?
Well, a little back further, Mr. Schubeck, we had Juan Monroy put a beautiful pass on Big Al Merriman, and now Juan, who got hung up on the curb there, has got his sights set on, I believe it's Greg Myers. You'll have to excuse us, folks. I don't know who's in what car out here without being on that car. But it is, well, you know, I'm not used to the cars yet.
It's good to see.
Greg Myers coming under pressure from Juan Monroy.
Yeah, it's Greg. Yeah, you know, it's good to see that Juan, you know, he had his moment, you know, and he's put his head down and he's starting to work his way up, because he definitely has the pace, you know, like Ryan, you know, he had good pace, you know, had that connection issue, and he's up to 5th now, and he's within 2 seconds of Moses right now, so he's done his deed. He's put his head down and he's moving forward.
Yep. You know, with these drivers, they're so close together.
Like those Dunlops, huh, Scotty?
Whoa, Myers takes it off, a little bit of a bobble, and way out in the grass, and he gives up that position.
Nice recovery.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he didn't lose it, though.
Whoa, and we've got a car off ahead of him. Christian Hamilton takes it off and allows Monroy in past him.
Yeah, it's
and Al
now these tires start to get a little worse.
Yeah, and Al Merriman has put the pass on Greg Myers, so a little bit of position changes going on back here.
Up front, man, we got Alex White in first. It's close. You may want to move back up there and check it out.
Yep, I'm back up with you.
And
sorry.
Brad's just holding that nice 1 second back.
Yeah, sorry, we missed that.
There's just so much action going on, Jack. You're not going to catch it all.
Boy, oh boy, those front runners there. Whoa, wow. They're hanging it all out there, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. I still like Brad, man. Brad is sitting pretty right there. He's far enough back. He's keeping his space far enough back for when these guys, if they have that moment, he's going to have enough time to react. And, you know, he's in that catbird seat. That's a nice, it's got to be nice feeling to be there, you know, in that, you know, I've been in a spot where you're kind of back, you know, watching those two guys battle, and they're slowly coming back to you. It's just having the experience to know, hey, I don't want to get too close to this because they're fighting hard.
And they are definitely fighting hard.
Oh boy, I tell you.
Now, I just want to put a little shout out.
Hey, Brian, what's up?
Just in case, if Alex's dad is watching, there's your boy. Alex is in Britain. His dad lives in Australia and quite often catches the broadcast. So, boy, I hope you get to see this one because this is a barn burner up there.
Well, it's like a cat in a tree, in the tree, and the birds are down eating the seeds on the ground, and the cat's just going, which one am I going to take? Or am I hungry?
Well, I'll tell you, those two...
Yeah, Scotty was asking for a cat-bird explanation.
Well, we've got Gooden is looking to the inside on just about every corner and just waiting for White to slide it a little wide, and he is going to pounce.
White has shown he's got the experience too to deal with that. He's probably ignoring Wyatt right now. He's just trying to keep his stuff tidy and go as fast as he possibly can.
Yeah.
When people do that to me, I always seem to screw it up.
Well, it's not going to take much, for these guys.
Yeah, Scotty. I hear you, Scotty. Scotty's giving me crap because what I'm saying makes no sense. When have I ever made sense?
On board with Wyatt Gooden, having to look on the inside, but boy, Alex White just closing the door, and not in a bad way. I mean, just driving his line and hitting those apexes just perfectly. White takes it off-road, and that's enough. Whoa, and he's back on and hangs on. I don't know how Alex did that. And Brad is all the way up behind, and he's going to take advantage of that. Brad Mayer side by side now with Wyatt Gooden. Brad on the inside of this corner, and Brad is going to take the position away. Now we've got Gooden all over the back of the instructor extraordinaire, Brad Maris. But, boy, you were right. You called that one right. One little bobble between those front runners, and that was a bobble by White. Gooden got the worst of it, though.
Yeah, he had to check up, but Wyatt's going to be sticking it back.
Whoa, Wyatt down on the inside. Brad on the outside, side by side onto the straightaway. Woo! I don't know if an old guy like me can take this for another half hour.
You love it.
I sure do. And these guys are putting on a great show as Gooden takes a look on the inside.
Oh, Brad,
where are you? Brad off into the kitty litter. Wow. Holy smokes. And
good thing he's not on live.
Oh, boy. Yeah, we heard him with a Tourette's moment in one of the broadcasts. I'm glad we don't have him up here this time around.
That was definitely a Tourette's moment there.
Wow.
But he's such a professional. He'll just put his head back down and start.
And you know what?
Chase all over again.
You called that, Jubes. You had that nailed perfectly. He waited and waited and waited, got his opportunity when a little bit of a bobble up in the front, and Gooden was a loser from the bottle from right. And, boy, Brad was in and took that. We've got a frozen car on the track, though. And that's Alex White. His car's frozen up.
Yeah, see, that's why I was tripping when he went down. Like I was like, all telling you, oh, he's in 12th now. He may be having a connection issue.
Geez, I'm still showing him back up on the screen now in first place. So something is not right here in the virtual world. But I still have White up on front running, so a little bit of a lag there, I guess. And Alex has opened up a bit of a gap there to Wyatt. But you know what? Good on Brad. Brad can still see them up there.
Yeah, Brad's another one of those guys. You know, it's like he's got something to chase. He's gonna chase it. He can turn it up a notch and give it everything he's got. But it's gonna be difficult in these little pea shooters.
Well, I hate to say it. I might be having some technical issues up here in the broadcast booth, folks. So I'm going to stay on my full screen there. Probably for the rest of the race because everything is not copacetic here in Nirvana. So we got White in first, Gooden in second, Maris in third, Chris Moses up to fourth, and he just put a pass on Mayfield, so Moses and Mayfield are duking it out. Let's hang in and watch this go on. Mayfield trying to catch a bit of a draft, and it looks like he might be doing it as well. Mayfield down on the inside, but not enough. Whoa, Chris really likes to slide that car around, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, that's he loves this stuff loose, you know. And it's for me personally, I cannot. I've being his teammate, I've gotten his setups, and I usually have to tone them back. I mean, they're a handful.
Yeah, one of the few drivers. Mayfield having a look again on the inside, side by side. Chris goes a little wide, and Mayfield makes the pass. That was a beautiful pass, but can Chris answer? A little bit of a slide by Chris, so these two are duking it out.
Yeah, Chris might be having some tire issues, you know, with liking to slide his car around. You know, it's a little harder than that kind of setup is harder on the tires than a more smooth conservative setup. So.
Well, that
maybe biting him now that he's just pushing hard to try and catch those leaders.
And he may end up just with that, a little bit more push going into the corners than he wants at this point.
Yeah, and Juan Monroy's up to 6 now, so he's put his head down. He's back 23 seconds off the leader, 13 seconds off of Moses right now. He put his head down after his moment and has moved right back up to the middle of the field.
Yep, just cycling back. We got Big Al in 8th, Greg Myers in 9th, Christian Hamilton in 10th, Gup Douglas back in 11th. And that's your field. So Alex White got a little bit of a gap. It probably looks like about a second or so. Like I said, I don't want to go back off my screen right now. I'm afraid of screwing everything up here, folks. But White is on top of Gooden, and Brad Maris, as you would say, he has put his head down and tried to gather it all back up to catch back up to these guys. But that is going to be a tall order. Ryan Mayfield in 4th as he got around Chris, and he is putting a bit of a gap on Chris now, right?
Yeah, he's a man on a mission, Ryan. It's, after having that epic qualifying lap lock up on him, he's done what he's needed to do. Coming from the back, been patient, and just pushed his way up through the field. And is, 10 seconds off the lead.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you imagine it? Just goes to show you. There's only 10 seconds between 1st and 5th. Incredible. Oh, well.
Those two
whoa.
guys are just insane. I mean, it's amazing that they're holding this. I wouldn't have expected them to hold this kind of pace with the battling they were doing. It's amazing, and a testament to their skill and their setup skills and their driving skills. To have a car that you could push that hard and not have it fade too bad on you.
No, they're doing a great job, that is for sure. Especially racing that close for the whole race so far. So, Wyatt Gooden, our relative newcomer here to NAGP, currently sitting in second place, chasing down one of our past champions, Alex White. And you know what? I'm not surprised. I think Brad might be closing up a little bit on these guys.
Well, I mean, Brad, the best thing for Brad right now is these guys to re-engage. I mean, 6/10, yeah, Wyatt is close, but, they're not really engaged in a battle. Once it gets down to, 2/10 and they're really engaged in assault and defend, that's what Brad's praying for right now. I mean, that's what will bring him back into this fight, I think, is if these guys get engaged again like they were earlier and, basically just backing themselves back to the field.
Well, we have got every one of the drivers out there is still on the lead lap. And all the way back to P11, Gup Douglas, he's only 58 seconds off the leader, but we've got a half a second between White and Gooden. Brad Maris is around 7 seconds off the leader right now. But this Ryan Mayfield is closing up on Brad Maris. He has sort of left Chris Moses behind. Chris is back by a couple of seconds behind Mayfield already. So, there's they're flying.
Yeah, I think Chris has maybe cooked his goods. They're cooked. He was driving really hard trying to get in touch with the White Gooden Maris battle up front. He may have just cooked his tires.
A little farther back we got Mr. Smooth, Greg Myers, and Big Al Merriman, and Marty Uren. All staying relatively close together. Marty in 7th, Al in 8th, and Greg Myers in 9th. And Christian Hamilton back in P10. So, the leaders still battling, still close. White and Gooden. That's pretty funny. Alex White's in the black car and Gooden's in the white car.
And Mayfield is, he's right behind Brad now. That boy is on a mission,
Yeah, he's had a great drive. Boy, these two guys, these two front runners, I have no idea how they are keeping this pace up. As Brad Maris comes onto the straightaway, he can just watch these two leaders get off the straightaway into that corner. But Alex White has got his hands full and a rear view mirror full of Mr. Gooden.
Yeah, and Maris has got a rear view mirror full of Mayfield right now, too.
Just joined that. You're right. Ryan is just putting the pedal down and going for it. So, two newer names around here at NAGP really making their mark. Whoa! As Ryan gets off on that curb there, but recovers beautifully. Well, Ryan is going to try and get around Brad Maris. You know, I got to think that as well as Brad drives, this will not be an easy pass for Ryan. This will be his toughest pass of the race. On board with Ryan Mayfield.
I don't know. You know, Brad is seasoned enough that he's going to try and hold him off, but he's if the guy's got pace on you, serious pace on you, sometimes it's better just to let him go.
Absolutely, but Brad drives the line so well. You're going to have to really sacrifice a bit of the line, and you better have some great exit speed to take him, or else you're not going to have the ideal driving line going around Brad.
Oh, true. He's not going to give it away. But I would hope it wouldn't turn into a Jeopardy thing.
Little bit of a slide from Brad. Ryan Mayfield right up behind him.
You may want to click up the front. They're fully engaged up front again here. Wyatt is definitely pressuring.
Oh, yep.
Oh, he's up in his business.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Schubeck, because it sure looks like it, doesn't it? It looks like Mr. Gooden has had enough of being in second and wants in first. Wow, are they in close racing now? Oh, whoo! They are close together, aren't they?
Yes. It'd be interesting to see how those gaps Brad's engaged with Mayfield right now, so it's kind of an even swap right now. Both groups are fully engaged, in defend and attack. They kind of stalemate.
Absolutely, I was thinking exactly the same thing. Unfortunately, if these two get some contact, Brad's got his hands full. He won't be able to capitalize on it, other than keep it clean, and maybe both, Mayfield and Maris will take advantage of anything that happens up here. But I don't think these two up here are going to want to have anything disastrous happen at this point. I mean, I would hate to be running.
I know, Brian, Ezra wasn't here.
I would hate to think that, you're running 1-2 to end up, 4-5 at the end of all the battling they put up.
Yeah, I mean, oh, wow. Mayfield is on a mission. He is in Maris's business big time right now, too.
Well, you let me know if any passes.
Click back to that.
I am there.
There.
Wow.
All right, I'll go back to watching the lead.
Holy jumping. And Mayfield you are right. Boy, Shubes, you called that one right. Mayfield is under the bumper.
Yeah, stay on that. You stay on that. I'll keep an eye on the leaders and keep you updated.
Mayfield on the outside. Brad on the inside.
Yeah, the same thing's going
on.
Just
holy jumping.
Pick your two.
Wow. Whoa. A little tap there. A little tap. Mayfield has got the inside, and he has made the move on Brad Maris. A little bit of a contact, but not terrible. But, wow, that Mayfield is on a tear, isn't he? Boy, oh boy. Now, can Brad answer? Mayfield, a little bit of a bobble and drags it into the grass a little bit. Brad right back up on him. On board with Brad Maris. Holy jumping. What action we got going on here. You would think this was last lap.
It has been for those front two. It's been a last lap race the whole race.
Brad looking to answer and come back at Mayfield. Mayfield locking the tires up. Brad a little bit of a bobble.
Why it's dropped off of Alex back to about 8/10 right now. So go ahead and stay with them. I'll keep an eye on them for you.
Well, you know who is actually taking advantage of this battle up here with Maris and Mayfield is the pit wizard, Chris Moses. Chris is actually, I think, sorry guys, I don't want to switch off here for a second, but Chris looks like he is actually gaining on these two. So, Brad.
He definitely is gaining on him. He's about the same off the leaders, but that battle is backing them into him, basically. Like we were, hoping that the leader battle would do, for Brad.
Mayfield into the grass, caught a little bit of a curb there. And Maris right there, but holy jumping. Brad on the inside now. Brad got a great run. Holy jumping, went by Mayfield like he was sleeping at the wheel. What a beautiful textbook pass. Holy jump, Mayfield off into the grass. And that's going to give Chris Moses a huge opportunity to close up here. Boy, that one mistake by Ryan Mayfield.
I'm going crazy. I'm going to have to come back and join you. Your leaders are second off. I'll keep an eye on the timing.
We'll leave him. We'll leave him out there because this has been some great action. Brad has now really put a gap on Mayfield. And Mayfield has got to settle back down. Oh, is the race over? I think
that's it.
Holy jumping. You're right. We missed the finish. Alex White is the winner. Wyatt Gooden in second. Brad Maris takes third. Chris Moses in fourth. Ryan Mayfield. He has stopped at the start-finish line. Is he out of fuel? Ryan Mayfield may have been run out of fuel. I think Ryan Mayfield has run out of fuel. He has stopped there. Oh, wow.
Insane. Oh, Ryan.
Oh my goodness.
What a battle, though. I mean, you got to give it to him. From that connection issue in qualifying to have to start in the back and have the patience to be up all the way to third and battling, for that last podium position. Insane.
I don't know about you, Thomas, but to me, that was bloody exciting. I mean, that was a great race for Race of Champions. I got to congratulate them all. They put on a great show tonight. 1-14, you did a great job. We had a couple of unfortunate incidents there, but boy, what a race.
Yeah, it was a great race. Some early issues, some guys, having some issues, but like Juan Monroy getting hung up on that curb, that was too bad. But yeah, he put his head down and came all the way back up to 6 there towards the end, I think. And I was just so entangled in that front 2-pack we had going there with the White Gooden, Mayfield, Maris. The rest of the field had kind of gapped itself evenly, but those two battles were just insane.
Well, Thomas, I got to thank you for coming up and joining me. It's great to have you. I'd love to have you back anytime. I'm Jack Ivey along with Tom Schubeck for NAGP, and we'll catch you later.
Yeah, Scotty, I was told to watch the F-bombs because we didn't have the parental advisory up. Yeah, Jack, it was a great time for me. Thanks for letting me sit in for Ken.
Anytime.